Hey, everybody, welcome to another podcast interview with a special store out in Bozeman, Montana. We're talking with Carter's Boots today, and we have Jeff and Garrett, the father and son duo over there at Carter's Boots. Hey, guys, how's it going? Thanks for joining me here on this special interview. I'm really happy to have you here today.
Yeah, it's great. Thanks for having us.
Now, you guys recently moved to a new location into a bigger store at the beginning of the year, and you just had a grand reopening this past weekend. How was that big party that you guys had?
That was big. We had a lot of raffle prizes. A lot of our boot vendors gave us boots to raffle away and give away for door prizes. Honcho was a big one of them that somebody won as a door prize for just coming and showing up and having fun.
Wow, cool. How many people were there, do you think?
About 250.
Whoa, okay. And you guys had dance lessons, right? Music. You had the prizes, the different sort of vendors there. What was the dance floor like?
It was our parking lot.
It was in the parking lot.
Yeah, out in the parking lot underneath the tent with some lights. And we had the Dead Yellers come out and play for us.
That's awesome. I'm so happy that it was a successful grand reopening. You guys earned it with everything that you guys got going on. Jeff, you started the store and repair shop way back in the day. When was that, and what was that experience like?
Well, I actually started Carter's. It was Carter's Cobbler Shop originally. And so I actually started the business when I moved out of the guy I was working from. I bought the machinery from him and moved out on my own. But I've actually been doing it for 43 years and fixing boots. So I moved out 29 years ago. So on our own, started our own. And it was a process, it was just a little shoe repair shop. Right off the bat, we didn't really have any retail at all. We had a little, some polish and brushes and stuff like that and dyes, but that was it. Just repair.
When did you decide to expand to offering products? Because in the old store, it seemed like half and half. Half the shop was boots, gear, maybe a little bit of clothing, and you had the repair shop in the back. What made you want to transition to offering more boots and clothing?
Well, it's a process for sure. We actually had a guy in town that sold it was at that time it was Buffalo, which is now one of the White's companies, and Westco, and he was retiring. He said, "Hey, you want to buy all the rest of my old boots?" And I said, "Well, if I can get the dealership, I will." And we could, so we did. And then we expanded pretty aggressively in 2000 when we moved into the new shop there. Picked up Cowboy boots. That was a big thing. Honcho started making Cowboy boots with us, private label, all handmade, and just kind of kept growing.
To the point where now you have a brand new big store there in Bozeman.
Yeah, we have a lot of space devoted to retail and the storage of the retail products. Yeah,
that's so cool. Congratulations! I'm so impressed by it. Since the store has been in the community in one form or another, like maybe in the smaller place down in Bozeman and now in the new location for a while, you must have lots of deep ties to the local culture. Can you tell me a little bit about how small stores like yours foster a strong sense of community?
Well, anybody that owns a little store like that, whether it's a community store, a gas station, a grocery store, or like our shoe shop, we have to compete with quality of products and customer service. We can't compete with, the Boot Barns and the Murdochs on volume. They just sell cheap Chinese stuff. So we try to offer a better product and better customer service.
That's a great way to put it. And it sort of leads me into my next question, because we all met up at the Western and English Sales Association trade show in Dallas in January. And it seemed like a priority to you guys to stock the store with a bunch of new boot styles and new boot brands, such as So Bigs, brand like Fenolio, who haven't been carried by your store before. How did you decide which brands to stock and which brands to pass on?
Well, some brands, you know, because we repair all of them, right? So we see them all, the cheap to the really good. So we knew, you know, we know right off the bat, well, we don't want any air yet. You know, they're throwaway boots, and everybody else falls into that category somewhere. And so you can tell by looking at a boot, you know, it needs to be made in the U.S. or at least Mexico. Like Honda does a great job. They're just across the border in Leon, so not China, but it mainly needs to be handmade. You know, which means better quality, better material, better workmanship. It's going to last.
Yeah. And it's really cool to see what you guys were looking out for. And Garrett, you were really excited about picking out some new brands and designing boots, and the family designing boots together. You know, I remember witnessing the whole family, even your mom, in on some, you know, different boots designs. What did you think about that? Was that your first time there? And what was that experience like for you, Garrett?
Oh, that was a lot of fun. It was actually all of our first time there.
Oh, okay.
We'd never been, but yeah, we had one goal in mind, since we did lose Honcho as our main boot source, was to find a replacement for that. And luckily, Fenolio and Blackjack both stepped up in those realms. Fenolio fills our void for like more of the basic customs stuff that like people aren't going to, you know, they want to design a boot that isn't necessarily like all hand carved or something like that. And Fenolio does a great job of fulfilling that time frame of, you know, quick turnaround, about 4 months. In the boot world, that's actually really quick. I'm actually surprised that they're at 4 months. And then Blackjack kind of came in and kind of swooped up the rest of the clientele, which is going to be more of those exotic leathers or custom hand carved boots or something like that. So Honcho did both of those, and we kind of had to fill the void with both of those. And having two different boot companies with two different time frames kind of gives us some flexibility in that sense. But designing the boots, I mean, I'd been designing a couple boots with Honcho prior to that, so the boot designing wasn't too new to me, and I had done lots of customs with customers, so designing boots wasn't a new thing for me when we went down to Dallas. It was definitely something that like I'd already done, and I'd also like kind of known what I would do for the store to change up some of the styles that we've kept around for the last 15, 20 years.
That's really cool that you have that experience, and also some of the experience of people coming into the store and asking for, you know, what they can design themselves, because you offer special orders as well, but also to see what sells really well too. And you're talking about Honcho and your partnership with Honcho and them making a specific line of Carter's boots. A lot of people are kind of curious about what's going on with Honcho right now. Could you sort of lay out what you've heard about what happened with Honcho and why they're not able to make Carter's boots anymore?
So yeah, why don't you know more about it than I do.
So Honcho is a fairly small factory too, down in El Paso. So then they would private label, they would do customs. They did a terrific job for us for a long time, well, since 2000. And so the primaries of the company, husband and wife owned it. Well, the husband died maybe 5-6 years ago. The wife continued to run it, and then she passed away last summer, a year ago. So the son who inherited it, has nothing to do with the boot world. He actually doesn't even live there. So he sold the company. So actually, Rios of Mercedes, who owns the Olathe brand, bought it, and that's where they're going to build their Olathe boots.
Okay. All right. So they're making more Olathes in El Paso now.
Right.
Yeah.
So
we'll probably be picking up some of those too at some point.
We actually already have Olathes on order.
Oh, great. Cool. Special order ones or ones that they have factory made?
Stock boots from
boots?
Olathe is where we're starting, just because of the 14-month lead time.
14 months lead time. Geez. Strategies can completely change in 14 months.
Yeah. So that was a big thing for us is it definitely changed. So hopefully the Honcho factory will push stuff out a little quicker, but Honcho will no longer exist. All the Carter's boots that we currently have on our website are actually officially going to a 15% sale. They started at our grand reopening. So that'll be permanent until they're gone.
Wow. Okay. That's a good deal, including the horse butt ones that we did a video on at Christmas time.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I'll
so I think I have about a size 1.5 of those left, and then they'll be gone forever.
Wow.
I can't get that in anymore.
You heard it here, guys.
Nobody can find the horse butt leather.
You know, I heard.
Although, didn't
Phil found something close, but it's still not the same.
Oh, okay. Phil from Hondo. He said he had something that kind of resembled it, but I hadn't seen it or anything.
Yeah, it looks really good. So we're going to be doing a couple styles with that leather, with Hondo, but it won't be the same. It'll be different leather still at the end of the day.
Okay, so this special run is the last of the horse butt Carter's boots.
Right.
You guys heard it here. I want to remind everybody watching live on YouTube that you can take this opportunity and ask Jeff and Garrett Carter of cartersboots.com in Bozeman, Montana. You can ask them questions right here in the live chat. And one came in from Neil here, and he asks, do you ever get a pair of boots in or any other item into the store and say, I need that personally? Like you guys buy it for the store, but you also want it for yourself.
Yeah, I did that with my blackjacks that I recently just got, actually. I had a pair of suede Cayman Gator boots that came in as just one for me to show off in the store.
And try on.
And I ended up just keeping them myself. So they're burgundy suede Cayman boots by Blackjack, and they just happen to fit me perfect.
Wow, that's so cool. How about you, Jeff?
And sometimes we order boots like for a customer, and we're like, that's really good. I think I want to add that boot to our line. You know, it's really cool. So
yeah.
I mean, I don't have too much of a personal penchant as much because I've got quite a few pair already.
And I'm building my collection quite rapidly.
It happens fast, doesn't it?
Yep. In the last since we went to Dallas, I've gained another 5 pair in my closet.
What are you up to total then?
I think I'm at 18 pair.
Nice. All right.
Yeah.
That's a great collection.
Doesn't count the Icelandic wolffish boots that I have on order, or the fully hand carved blackjacks that I just put on order.
Nice. So it's good. You have a very unique collection for sure. For those of you who didn't see the Instagram post that I made back in January, Garrett ordered some Icelandic wolffish boots from Fenolio. And he's going to be like one of 2 people in the entire world who's going to have these boots.
From Fenolio. There have been a couple other cases of us finding Icelandic wolffish boots now.
Oh, okay. But Fenolio's only made one, and then they're only going to make one more, and it's going to be for you.
Yeah, they haven't even told me a time frame of when I'm going to get those yet.
Well, fingers crossed it actually happens.
It will. Brad said that it will.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Good. If Brad says so, then it's definitely going to happen.
Yeah.
We got another question in here from Robert Bush, probably referring to the Olathe question on the 14-month turnaround time. He asks, why does it take that long?
They just have so many boots on order that they're just so backlogged that they can't keep up with it. And in fact, they've turned away orders apparently They're just like, no, we don't have the bandwidth to do this many orders. So come back to us in a month or two and order these.
And that's probably a reason why they bought the Honcho factory, so that they could keep up with all the orders, right?
Right.
Because they were making Olathe in the Anderson Bean factory, and what they really needed was a separate factory for the Olathe. So their hope is when they're both up and running separately again, it'll start pumping them out a lot quicker. So maybe it'll bring it back down to more reasonable, like 6 to 8 months
for both companies.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't realize they were making all those boots in that family of brands in one factory there in Mercedes, right? That's where their factory is?
Yeah. Rios actually has their own factory.
Oh, okay.
And Bean and Olathe were the ones scrunched together.
All right. So this makes more sense for each brand.
So it's not necessarily the time to build a boot. It's just there's so many boot orders.
Yeah.
So
that makes so much sense.
Yeah. That company, that family it grew really quick, and they became a pretty household name for cowboy boots, especially nice high-end cowboy boots. So they just kind of blew up, and I think a lot of the boot community is just kind of tired of throwaway boots, plastic boots, stuff that isn't made very well. And so they kind of blew up for that reason.
Yeah, and it's good to see. It's really good to see some good quality stuff coming onto the market for sure. Speaking of like what people are looking for, we got a question in here from Mike K, who asks, have you noticed any differences in boot trends between Montana and Texas?
100%. Like Fenolio, they do a lot of rough out boots in like a cutter toe or a square toe for people. And we definitely have to stock a lot more round toes. Montana likes round toe. I mean, we are breaking into the square toe world up here a little bit more.
10 years ago, the square toe wasn't a thing here, but Texas has certainly influenced that. There's a lot of, we carry a lot of square toes now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you see a lot of them.
It takes a couple of years for those trends to reach Montana. Like rough out, we just started getting towards some rough out boots just because the trend, like people are finally asking for that up here. I mean, obviously the internet kind of meshes the worlds a lot quicker for us. So like now that we're being asked about it on the internet, we have to carry it. And then our store kind of influences the rest of Montana from that perspective of us carrying it and then them seeing it in store and then them liking it. And then it just snowballs from there.
No doubt. That makes a lot of sense. Speaking of trends and the differences between Montana and other markets, what are some of the seasonal demand issues that you guys face up there in Montana? Do preferences of your customers change throughout the year based on the season, as I would imagine they would, or do they stay pretty much the same?
They can be about the same throughout the year. You definitely see more rubber soled boots sell in the winter though.
And in our cold weather boot business, obviously in the fall, once hunting season starts getting close, we sell hunting boots and more waterproof boots. Tourists tend to be more cowboy boots.
Yep, that makes sense. And not only do you guys sell boots, clothing, and gear at different seasonal times, maybe it stays the same, maybe it changes during hunting season and that. But you also you still got the repair shop, right? Even though you moved locations. So do you have more people coming to you for boot and shoe repair, or more people now coming to you for actual boots, clothing, and gear to buy new?
I would say it's kind of the same mix, but the demographic has changed a little bit. In other words, downtown we had a lot of tourists, a lot of rubberneckers, and they bought some boots, but there's a whole lot of the valley that hated going downtown, so we're picking those up and losing some of the tourists, kind of.
Yeah, you guys got the parking lot now, which must make a huge difference. Before, people had to park on the street, right?
Right.
Yeah, and you could be 2, 3, 4 blocks away before you found someplace to park too, which is really a pain. And especially if you have a truck, I'd say 80% of our customers drive trucks between work boots and cowboy boots,
Yeah.
Yep, no doubt. I remember when Phil and I visited the old place downtown, and I wasn't even really sure where I should park. I just ended up parking someplace and hoped it would just be okay. And it was fine, but I'm always more comfortable with a big parking lot where I know everything's going to be okay.
Right. Yeah. Yep. So I think it deterred some people in the valley that would come to us to get boots, and they just went to like Boot Barn or Murdoch's or someplace that they could just drive in and walk in and find what they wanted in store, as where now they can do that with us. And with our 25-foot tall cowboy boot outside, it'll be hard to miss us.
That's right. Can you tell me the story about that?
So what was it? It was when we were downtown, we wanted a boot outside of our store. Art.
A steel boot, just an artist rendition of the cowboy boot.
Like 6 foot tall or something like that.
Whoa.
And
but it's a state highway that goes by, so the state said, well, you can't really have art if it advertises for your business, which seems kind of dumb to me. But anyway, so out here we're outside of the city of Bozeman, so the only restriction is a height restriction on what we can put up there. And so it's going to be, we have a up and coming metal artist, and he's building us a 15-foot tall boot, and it'll be on a 10-foot pole.
Whoa.
Really going to be cool.
How heavy is it?
It'll be about 5,000 pounds.
Jeez. That's going to be awesome. How close is it to being done?
It's done.
The boot's pretty much done. We're doing the base right now.
Oh, okay. So you're working on getting it put up in the air. How far up in the air is it going to go?
10 foot.
Oh, geez. So 10 foot, and then it's 6 foot or 15 foot, you said?
15 foot. So it'll sit total 25 feet.
Jeez, that's going to be hard to miss.
Yeah.
That's exciting. That's really exciting. We got another question in here from Mike K, who asks, are all your boots available on the website, or are there more in store? Is there a mix, like online only or in store only?
I actually have some horsepowers that are online only. That is the only thing that right now that we are currently sitting on that is not technically in store, but it's online.
But everything in store is online.
Yeah. Yeah. We don't have any in-store exclusives. We have some online exclusives.
Gotcha. There you go. So everything's available to everybody. And don't forget to use my code to save 10%, Jeremiah Craig at checkout on cartersboots.com. Little plug there. We got another question in here from Matthew Williamson, who asks, what's your favorite leather? And maybe personally, and also I want to throw in another caveat and part of this question. Maybe what's your favorite leather to also work on in the repair shop?
Well, I mean, it's a mix of what looks good and what performs well. So, I mean, we like shark, we like elephant, just because they're so durable and they're unique. I mean, I like the exotics because they look so cool, like alligator and some of those. But horsebutt was a great one. You could always make it look good, and it wore well and perform well. Shoulder leathers, bull hides, they wear well and perform well. Fish, they don't wear so well.
They look cool.
Yeah.
And snake, yep. And fish, they don't wear so well.
No.
Or tiger lizard.
Yeah.
Yep. So boots like that, I mean, personally, I think the Icelandic wolffish is one of the coolest skins that I've seen, but I don't think it'll wear very well.
It's pretty thin.
It's pretty thin. But like a gator, super cool, but I wouldn't want to go work out in the field in it.
Wouldn't want to beat it up.
Yep. But elephant, it looks cool and you can't beat it up.
Yeah, but the last time I talked to you, Garrett, you said you still like to baby your elephant boots just because they're nice and they cost a lot.
I've gotten over that.
Oh, you have? Oh, so once you get enough boots, you start really, really wearing in those elephant boots.
Yeah, I'm actually wearing them right now.
Nice.
Yeah. So those ones I just beat up now. They kind of go with me everywhere.
That's awesome. It's such a good leather to have with you everywhere because you know it's always going to be okay.
Yeah. Just don't try to cut it with a knife. There's a story of a guy that was like that. I heard he took his knife to it and he's like, "See, you can't even scratch these," and just sliced all the way through it.
Oh, no, jeez. That's so bad. I mean, come on, but
they got to cut it somehow to get it made into a boot.
Right? That's a good point.
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear you're wearing those elephant boots. That's really cool. I do the same with mine. Yeah. Graham Richards. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Jeff.
A really cool skin is Stingray. It's hard to work on, and it looks really fancy, kind of cool, but I think it's gonna super durable too.
Yeah. Have you ever had to sew it? I hear it ruins needles, and whenever you have to work on it, it just like they can't cut it with a knife. They have to use special scissors down in Leon when they're making these boots.
Yeah.
Have you ever had to work with it?
Not much, a little bit, but not much. Yeah.
Yeah. The one time that we did make like a little coin pouch out of Stingray for a guy, we busted like 4 or 5 needles just stitching it.
Jeez.
And it was only like 4 inches by like 3 inches or something like that.
Wow. And that's because the Stingray leather has a bunch of like calcium on the outside, like little bone buttons. Is that what it is?
They're little itty bitty bone, like domes, like the size of a BB.
Mm-hmm.
You can imagine half a BB covering a boot, a bunch of half BBs. So, boy, it's hard to sew.
Yeah, it sounds awful to work with, to be honest. When I talk with boot makers who are trying to make boots out of it, like custom boot makers, some of them just did it once and then refused to ever again.
Yeah,
I can see that.
Yeah, but it makes such a beautiful boot at the end of the day.
It is really unique and cool looking for sure. I can't wait to try a pair for myself, but it's got to be the right size because it seems to be such a stiff leather, and I don't want to like do a size cheating thing. I want to make sure that I have a nice narrow width that fits my foot well so that it breaks in perfectly rather than trying to punish myself and break in a pair of boots like that just isn't exactly the right fit.
Well, there's some boots you could cheat a little bit like that on, like a buffalo hide or an elk hide or something. But usually you want a boot to better fit. Better than for sure.
Yeah. Stingray's not that bad in all reality to break in.
Okay.
It's about as bad as elephants, I'd say.
All right. So elephant's pretty bad too, though.
Compared to other skins, compared to buffalo, it's terrible to break in, but it's about the same to break in elephants as it is caiman, though.
Okay. Well, caiman tail, because the caiman belly doesn't have any of the bones in it.
Right.
Caiman belly was easy for me to break in anyways, but the caiman tail, I'm with you on the caiman tail.
Yeah.
So you guys recently repaired a pair of my boots, the Chisos #1. I sent you in these boots here for a resole, and I got a rubber resole. Check it out, everybody. They did a great job on this rubber half sole, and I've been wearing them around. I really like the fact that these have a rubber sole now. And you guys did an awesome job. I'm super happy with my decision. Can you tell me a little bit about the Chisos boots and what it's like working on those and the quality that you thought that they had, but also what is the value of doing a rubber sole as a resole rather than just going with a leather resole from a leather sole cowboy boot, like it came from the factory that way, and just doing a leather resole rather than doing a rubber resole. So I like the rubber resole, but so what's the value of that? I guess I'm trying to ask.
So in terms of your boots, that was a nice quality boot. I'm not super familiar with them. I've seen them before, but the difference between a rubber resole versus a leather resole, it really depends on what you're doing with it. If this guy comes in and says, I've had this 10 years and it's my dress boot, and it's got a leather sole in there, that's fine. Wear is not an issue for him. But if you're wearing through it in 3 or 4 months, a rubber sole will wear 2 or 3 times longer. I would say up to 6 times longer, 5, 6 times longer, and you won't soak up water. It's not as slick. Some of the old guys like Robert, he liked leather because, it gets wet and it sort of grips on the ice. I'm like, I guess in terms of, if you were to get it wet, that would be better than a rubber sole on ice, because rubber, can be slick too, especially on cold and ice. But if you want a little traction, especially, wear is the biggest thing for it, though.
Yeah, and that's why I went with it. It might not be the best choice for some working cowboys or those competitors in rodeos, because it's not going to let you slide out of the stirrups as fast, right? I mean, you got that rubber traction on there, and it's not going to let you do that. Am I right in that assumption?
Well, you could also put a smooth rubber sole on there too, which would not hinder you in sliding out of the stirrup.
Okay.
Or like the Finolio ranch hand sole, that would be totally fine.
That's a good point. That ranch hand has the durability of a rubber outsole, but the traction of a leather outsole.
Right. And we actually just put another one of those on order. It'll be full brown with white stitching on the top, white piping, and the chocolate ranch hand sole.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah.
The new one, the new color.
Yep. I just ordered that about 20 minutes before we hopped on the call.
Sweet. I'm looking forward to seeing those when they come in. Another 4 months. That's quick turnaround time, right?
4 months, yep. And I've just got 2 more ladies on order through them and another guy's rough out boot. I did rough out on that one.
Nice. Yeah. That's a good look. Can't wait to see that. Let's get back to the live chat here and some questions from viewers. We got a question here from Graham Richards, who asks, do you do international orders? Will you ship internationally?
Yes, I actually just shipped out a couple things to Italy and a couple things to Germany today.
Whoa, cool. Boots?
Yeah. A guy ordered a set of boots to Italy. He ordered 2 pair of the Carter's Honcho boots and a boot jack, which we're just finishing up the boot jack for him, and we're going to get that sent off tomorrow for him.
Fun. Okay, cool. So there you go, Graham. I think Graham is in England, so use the code, Graham, when you order. Daniel here asks, saw the new store move. How are you handling costs of overhead, inflation, and retail prices, he asks.
You want to answer that one? You know better than I do.
We doubled the size of our store. We're paying less per foot, but twice the square foot, so that went up. And luckily our business continues to grow. So, we can cover that. Inflation's obviously a thing. It's tough. Tough on everyone.
Yeah, it's a tough time right now. But it's really cool that you guys are making these moves right now, because it seems like the people who make moves when it's tough ultimately come out the other end like really strong, and they can take advantage of the good times even better. What do you think about that?
I'd agree with that. Certainly.
Yeah.
No.
We came out pretty strong after 2008 when that went down. Just because I think part of it is the repair sector keeps people coming back during those times that money's a little tighter, just because then you can get something fixed and repaired and make it through a little bit longer without necessarily having to shell out between $300 and $500-$600 for a set of boots, and you can drop a $40 patch on it or a $100 resole compared to a brand new set of boots. And then when they are ready, we do have the boots that they can come get from us and can do that again and again and again, even through the rest of the life of that boot.
But and part of this is I educate customers all the time. When you buy a better quality boot, it's better value because it's going to last you longer. So, it's sort of opposite of what you might think. You're like, oh, well, money's tight. I need to buy a cheaper boot. Well, that's not necessarily the right choice, because a lot of times if you buy a better boot, you'll more than make up for that in the long run. It's a more of a hit up front, certainly, but long term it'll be better for you.
Yeah, I agree. I made a video about this in the past, and it's all about the ROI, right? The return on investment, because you could buy an expensive, quote unquote, pair of boots that can be repaired and then have them resold, 5 or 6 times, or maybe just once if it's with a rubber sole, and get so much more life out of that one really well-made boot than buying one boot that's cheaper, but having to buy it again and again and again and again every single year. Like if you look at it from
exactly
zoom out, then you're spending less when you buy a really good boot and repair that boot.
And your feet will be lots happier.
For real.
Which makes you a lot happier.
Yes. Don't mess with a man's feet or anybody's feet.
And there are cheaper options than the good handmade quality boots. Fenolio has some great price point boots that you get down into it. And they get down towards that $300 price point. Hondo is really good about that, $300. And then when they go on sale or use Jeremiah's discount code, they just get a little bit cheaper, and they're still a great boot that you can push through just about anything for between 5 and 10 years if you take good care of them. And then if you really wanted to later down the road, you can go with like a blackjack, like get like a gator boot or something, even just a different blackjack boot. They are sitting at a higher price point, but they're definitely an A+ grade boot that you can get, and they'll last you a long time. You have an Ariat with a molded sole. That's not a resolable boot. You can get the heel replaced on it, but you can't really get the sole replaced on it. You might wear it out in between 6 months, and who knows, just depending on how often you're wearing them and what you wear them in. I mean, you can get an Ariat to last you 10 years, but it just depends on how often you're wearing it. If you wear it 5 times a year, yeah, it'll last you a long time. But if you wear it every single day, most likely won't.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing of it is, even if the sole's still there, it has like a cardboard insole, so that's falling apart and it's not giving you any support. So it's not very comfortable. It's not what you need.
Very comfortable right off the bat, but once you break it in, it's broken down.
Yeah. I was talking with another store at Wessa, Trav's there from Trav's Outfitters, and he put it a good way. He said the Ariats and some of the more modern made boots, they're comfortable when you put them on the first time, but then they keep getting less and less and less comfortable. But the traditionally made boots, they're not as comfortable or, as what you would expect comfort to be the first time you put them on, but then they get more and more and more and more comfortable the more that you wear them. It's like they cross.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Yep. Yep. I strictly just sit on leather footbeds now. I don't put any cushion footbeds in my boots.
And that forms right to your foot, and there's no other feeling like it.
Right. Yeah. It's permanent memory foam.
100%. Love it. Got another question here from Mark. Coming from a business and consumer aspect, he asks, what do you think is the driving appeal for boots during this time? What are the factors in their popularity?
Part of the big factors right now is New York Fashion Week just did a huge Cowboy collection for their Fashion Week. So Cowboy boots are in the fashion world. It's part of it. And then on top of that, you know, the TV show, a bunch of TV shows are coming out as Western TV shows. A huge driving factor behind it as well. But also just, you know, everybody's kind of moving away from the big cities and coming to more rural areas now, I guess, is also after COVID kind of pushed it towards that. And it's just kind of the culture that's been ingrained out there. So then people buy boots and join that culture.
Once you wear a pair, you kind of understand though. You know, you get a pair and you get them broke in. There's nothing like it. I mean, it's a very comfortable footwear.
And you can get all sorts of different styles too. You can wear them on Wall Street. You can wear them at the beach in shorts if you wanted
to. Let's go. 4th of July weekend.
Yep. You've seen Crocs' new thing? They're trying to push the Western world.
Oh, don't even get me started. It looks awful. It looks so bad.
It looks so bad, but I mean, they saw an open market. They went and swung for the fences, and I think they struck out on that one.
Who knows? I haven't seen their sales on it, but it went viral for a second, and I'm like, oh geez,
yeah.
This is.
It definitely went viral. There's definitely people that bought it. That's for
sure.
Yeah.
There's definitely people. If it's one of those things, and Crocs is its own sort of cult following, so people definitely followed it for sure.
If somebody gifted me a set of them, I'd try them.
Yeah, right.
Or if Crocs sees this and reaches out to me, I'll wear them for a second.
There you go. I got a couple of questions for both of you. It's kind of like a one side and the other, because Garrett, it sounds like you're taking more of a responsibility management role in running Carter's Boots from day to day. And I got this question for you first, and then I got the other side of the question for Jeff afterwards. Garrett, how do you think the future of the store as a part of a next generation of Carter's Boots?
You know, I got big pictures for it. I want to see it grow. I want to have multiple locations, hopefully at some point. You know, just watch it grow, take the employees that I have now and hopefully grow it with them and continue down the road, and let my dad watch me take what he created and work so hard for and make it bigger than he could have ever imagined, and just continue to grow it. And it's kind of my baby now, because I grew up in the store and I watched it, and I want to continue it now and just keep going with it. And I love what I do. It's part of the big driving factor behind it.
That's so cool. Jeff, what are your thoughts about that?
I'm pretty excited for him. You know, I mean, this is the reason we moved, you know, because I'm like angling toward retirement at some point, or semi-retirement, you know, and so came to the point. It's like, well, what do you want, Garrett? And he stepped up to the plate, so I'm really excited. He's young and he's got the energy, whereas, you know, I don't necessarily wouldn't want another location. I'm like, oh man, that's a lot of work. I mean, I'll keep fixing boots for a while, but yeah, I couldn't be prouder of Garrett. You know, he's an awesome kid, and he's just got such a great personality. He knows the product real well and works with customers real well. So I'm pretty excited for it.
Yep. If you message me on the website, I'm not ignoring you. Sometimes I miss things every once in a while. But if you message me again, I try to get back to you as soon as I possibly can.
Well, the messages on the website are the only thing that you're letting slide a little bit. I think you're doing pretty okay. You're a little busy.
I try to get back to those as soon as I can. Sometimes I get busy and I forget about a text every once in a while. But
he gets pulled 100 different directions during a day, so
yeah, it's
understandable.
I think it's amazing that you guys are able to create the family small business, or in Garrett's plans, big business, the family business idea. And it seems to be sort of a little bit traditional and lost these days, but this is what used to happen, right? The father passes the business down to the son, and then the son takes it from there and grows it even more. And then, maybe with Garrett's children, he'll do that with his children. I think it's very special and rare nowadays to see what you guys are doing.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, luckily in our community, I'm friends with basically all the other business owners' kids, and they're all helping run their family businesses now. I've got like 5 or 6 friends that are taking over family businesses. So it's, when you get into the community, it doesn't seem as rare, but like out in the world, it's definitely pretty rare.
Do you find that that's an inspirational community to be a part of, to be around a bunch of other people your same age who are in very similar situations?
It's different. I mean, for sure. Cause like when you talk to each other, like you kind of are all on the same boat and you're like, yeah, I worked 60 hours this week. And then, you talk to other people that aren't quite in that same realm and they're like, yeah, I worked like 35 hours this week. And like, I went home and I mean, it's just different. It's a completely different mindset personally for me. I mean, nothing wrong with the other side of things, but I personally would be bored just because I've been so active my entire life.
Yeah.
Like when I was in high school, I didn't get home until between 6 and 8 o'clock at night. And I would start the day off at like 7 to 8 a.m. every single day.
Mm-hmm.
And it would be 12 hours with sports, work and everything. I started working when I was 14. So it's just different personalities kind of click differently. And I think being raised by somebody that owns a business and seeing it and everything kind of meshes you into that mindset a little bit. But no, it is kind of funny, interacting with people because like you tell them about your work week and you're like, well, work never ends for me. And it's one of those things where like you just kind of see both sides of the coin. Like
it's a different mindset that a lot of people that just have a 40-hour week job do not understand. Other business owners, they do understand.
Yeah. And vice versa. Like I don't understand the 40-hour work week necessarily, but I mean, you have to have that still. There's a purpose for that out there. Nothing wrong with either one. Just my personality doesn't mesh well with the 40 hours a week.
Yeah. And it seems like being around other people who are the same age as you doing a similar thing, you can kind of, if there is like a slow week or something, you guys can definitely hold each other accountable for those next steps that you're trying to make in your family businesses.
Right. When the slow times are here, that's when I'm going to be behind the scenes doing the most.
Love it. And I can't wait to see everything that you guys do. I'm huge fans and I can't wait to visit the new shop. It was a bummer that I couldn't make it out, but I hope to make it out sometime soon. Where can people find out more about you? And I know you already gave us a hint, Garrett, into what your plans are, but I know that you got a vacation coming up, a well-deserved one. What do you have planned? What's the future hold for Carter's Boots?
In the next year, 6 months. What time?
Yeah, give us the next 6 months to a year.
So 6 months. We'll obviously do Christmas. So in that time frame, we'll have Blackjack coming in officially in size runs. More Fenolios. I think I've got now 5 styles coming in from Fenolios. The Carter's line will hopefully die off a little bit more. And then, from there, just expanding those boot brands and rebuilding that infrastructure of boots that we need to get back up and running. At a year, we're going to be doing another big party for our 30th anniversary. So we're going to have another parking lot party with food, and the boot will be up by then.
Nice.
The boot will be up in the next month, hopefully. So that's kind of the year plan, is to kind of grow things a little bit with the boot brands that we need to grow again. And then from there, have our 30th anniversary. And then, the 10-year plan is probably having another location, of moving this location again to a bigger spot. And then from there, the 15-year plan will probably be another location. And hopefully that just spirals down, snowball effects from there. It's kind of my hope and plan.
Awesome. Well, I wish you guys the best of luck. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today. I really appreciate it. If you guys want to learn more about Carter's Boots, all you got to do is just go to cartersboots.com and you can learn all about them from there. You guys are also active on Facebook and Instagram too.
Yep. More active active on both, but Instagram is definitely kind of the driving factor right now, just the way that things are headed with technology and everything.
Yeah, no doubt. I appreciate your time. Thank you everybody for watching. Guys, if you want to stick around, Jeff and Garrett, if you want to stick around for a minute, you're more than welcome to do so. But to everybody else, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And definitely check out more and watch what Carter's Boots does in the future, because it's certainly going to be exciting. Thanks for watching, everybody. See you later.